All right, I think the meeting is being live streamed, and it should also say we are recording on the. Prem, is the meeting now being recorded? It
Yes,
should
sir.
say it soon. All right. All right. So we have a recording in progress. Over to Ellen for this wonderful Excel seminar.
All right. So thank you so much, Arun sir, and thank you everyone. So hello everyone, namaste. So if you can hear me, just type number 1 in the chat box. And if you can see the screen, because right now I'm sharing a Excel file. So if you can see the Excel file, just type number 2 in the chat box. So because I'm going to teach you all on Power Query, data cleaning in Power Query, because Power Query is a very exciting tool. So again, I repeat, if you can hear me, just type 1. And if you can see the screen, just type number 2. So thank you, Aishwarya. Okay, so right now what we want to do is we want to clean the data. As you can see over here we have data like OPEX, CAPEX, here we have forecast, actual, and here we have Petrocop. So sometimes when we want to actually clean the data for data analysis, because like right now I want to do some analysis or I want to actually do some data cleaning. So that is where you need to use Power Query to save the day. So the first step is what I'll do is I'll press Control A. That means when you press Control A, it will highlight the entire table. So first step is Control A means it will highlight the entire table. And then what you do is you go to data. Okay, we are learning Power Query in Excel. So go to data and then you go to from table slash range. So from table slash range means from the selected area. So I'm just going to press here. Once I'm going to press here, you will notice that a box will appear. So once I press from table slash range, as I mentioned just now, a box will appear over here. So what I'm going to do is, this is not the rail header. So you can just untick this and then you press OK. So once you press OK, you will notice that you will be navigated to Power Query Editor. So Power Query is a very, very important tool. It's an ETL tool. It is available in Excel. It is available in Power BI. So right now, the data is very messy because you have Petrocop, null, RFS, null, JFM, null. So what I need to do is I need to transpose this. So I go to transform and I click transpose. By transposing, I'm actually changing the bentuk. I'm changing the layout. Layout means I'm changing the layout because initially it was in this format. But right now, when I transpose the table, now you notice is 4 different columns. And over here, if you notice, there is null, 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 null. So whenever the Excel, whenever you have a merge cell or whenever you have a blank cell in Excel, in Power Query, it will appear as null. So instead of showing null, what you can do is you can actually fill down. That means you select this column 1, right click, and then what you do is you fill down. That means you press here fill and then you press here down. So when you press fill down, automatically you'll notice the data will fill down. And then what you can do is you can actually bring OPEX and CAPEX as the header. So what I'll do is I'll go to use first row as header. Either you can click over here because right now it's column 3, column 4. I don't want column 3, column 4. Instead, I want this first row become a header. So I click over here. So you see the first row become a header. Then you can select OPEX and then shift CAPEX, right click, and then what you do is you press unpivot column. When you press unpivot column, so right now you notice that you have 4 columns. Column 1, you have the company. Column 2, you have the type. Column 3, you have the expenses. And here you have the INR, the amount in the transaction in Indian rupees. So this is the 4 different columns. And the ironic part is you can actually close and load. But when you close and load, it will load as a table format. So you can click over here and you can press close and load to. Okay, replay again. Okay, no worries. So if you see here, let me replay. Thank you, Hashima, for your doubts. Thank you so much. So we need to say, what happened is I clean the data. Initially, the data was in this format. But now when I transpose, it will change the layout. Transpose means exchanging the layout. That means you change the horizontal to a vertical format or the vertical to a horizontal format. And then after that, why I fill down? Because here got null. So I fill down. So Hashima, do you get it? So here I already filled up. Then over here you notice the first row I will promote as the header because I don't want column 3, column 4 becoming the header. So I use first row becoming the header. So that's why I promote the headers. And then after that, what I do is I select the OPEX and CAPEX and then I unpivot column. You can actually press right click and unpivot column, or you can go to transform and you press unpivot column over here. By pressing over here, you will notice that it will change. Okay, so I'm going to press here insert. So there you go. And this one I can just change. Okay, so right now what I can do is I can actually change the rename. So this one I put here company name. Here I'll put here type. So my friends, do you get it what I'm doing? What I'm doing is I'm showing you that Power Query can do data cleaning. And then you can name here as expenses. This one here, INR. Okay, so Ashima, do you get me? And then of course, this one is ABC123. You can actually change this to a number format. And this one is ABC123. So I select these two. And the data type is I put into a text format. So we have text, 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 and so on. So under here, we have home, we have here close and load. When you press close and load, it will load as a table format. So you need to actually press close and load to, because close and load to means you can actually load in many different formats. So when I press close and load to, you will notice that a small box will appear. So what you can do is you can actually load as a pivot table, or if you want to save storage, you can also only create connection. But I want to show you that we can also choose data analysis. Meaning to say, what I can do is I can click here pivot table and I can choose existing worksheet. I can just put it over here and then I just press OK. Once I press OK, what happens is you can actually produce it in a pivot table format. So for example, if I take the company, I can actually put the expenses at the columns and I can take the IRR. So this is how you can actually do. And then maybe you want to put the type also you can just put type over here. So this is how you can actually produce it. And if just say you want selected companies or you want a chart, you can try it as well. So what we learn is we learn to do data cleaning so that it becomes in one particular proper database. Okay. So now let me show you. We have many different levels like level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, and so on. So what I'm going to show you is how we can actually use this to clean our data so that we can use for data analysis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Power BI, open a Power BI so that you will get an understanding why I'm teaching you this Power Query. Because Power Query, you can also use it in Excel. You can also use it in Power BI. So now let's just say I open this blank report. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Excel workbook. I want to select the file. So you need to know where you save and what is your file name. So when I press Excel workbook, I'll go to desktop and I'll go to day 1. I'm going to select this file number 5, data cleaning via Power Query. And I'm going to press open. So once I press open, so just say I want to select level number 2. So you will notice that a box will appear. So just say I select level number 2. When I select level number 2, can you all see this? Can you see column 2, column 3? If you can see this, can you type number 3 in the chat box? When I tick the level 2, there is column 1, column 2, column 3. Thank you, Mukesh. Thank you, Aishwarya, for typing number 3. So now why you may ask me why we are learning Power Query? Because Power Query is used for data cleaning. So now if just say I were to press load, when I press load, automatically what happen is it will load the data to Power BI. Yes, it will do load the data to Power BI. But the problem is, even though you have load the data, right now it shows us column 1, column 2, column 3. This is not a proper data. The reason of learning Power Query is actually Power Query is actually a very, very big topic. It's equivalent to a 2 semester subject. But if you see here, you notice is column 1, column 2, column 3. So in Power Query, what we can do is we can clean the data. So just say I press here transform data. Once I press transform data, you will notice a box will appear and then it will go to Power Query Editor. So right now I'm going to ask everyone, do you think this column 1 is necessary? If you think necessary, you can type yes, or you think not necessary, you can type no. Do you think column 1 is needed? Can anybody, you can type yes or no. Do you think this one? Okay, so thank you Aishwarya for typing no. I really appreciate that, because if you look here carefully, this column 1 contains the company name and the title. So we don't need this column. So we can just press here right click, and then we can just click on remove. And then if you notice carefully, row 1, row 2, row 3. Do you think this first 3 row is needed? If you think it's needed, can you type yes? Or if not needed, can you type no in the chat box? This row 1, row 2, row 3, do you think it's necessary? Okay, so thank you Mukesh for typing no. So the first row, the second row, and third row is not needed. So in this case, what we need to do is we need to remove the row. So we click here remove row. You can either click remove top row, or you can click remove blank row. Remove top row means it will remove the top. Remove blank row means it will remove the rows which are blanks. So I can click here remove blank, and just like that, it will remove the blank row. It will remove whatever rows which has the word null. And then after that, this one, I don't want column 2, column 3. Instead, I want the first row become the header. So this is what I do is, I click use first row as header. By just clicking like that, the first row becomes the header. And now, when just say I press close and apply, when I press close and apply, yes, so I'm sure, yes. Thank you, Ashima, for your question. Why? Okay, Power BI and Excel, even though there are two platforms, thank you, Ashima. Why not focus on Excel? Power BI is a different platform. The one is, this course is actually to educate you what is Power Query. So thank you, Ashima, for your question. The purpose why I show you is, why we do Power Query is to clean data. Because sometimes, even in our data over here, just say we look at, just say level 13. Level 13, if you notice, we have so many of tables. Okay, so the problem in this particular information is, we do have Apple stores, Asian Pacific, products, and then we have the months. Here we have online sales, Americas, products, and then we have subsequent months. So now, to educate everyone, of course, sometimes in our reporting, we have so many files, or sometimes our file is not clean. So what we do is, we need, if just say we want to do data analysis, we need to make sure that our data is clean. When I say data is clean means, I'm saying that the data should be in a proper tabular format, something like this. If our data is in a proper tabular format, then only we can either go to load to pivot table, or we can also load to Power BI. So to answer Hashima's question, thank you for your question. Actually, the purpose is actually to show you what we can do with Power Query. Power Query is known for data transformation tool, a data cleaning tool. So for example, over here, maybe let me show level 10. Okay, so maybe I'll go to level number 10. So my dear friends, can you see level number 10? If you can see level number 10, can you type yes in the chat box? So sometimes, if you notice carefully, regardless whether it's Power BI or Excel, Power Query, like what Aishwarya mentioned, it's common in both. But the thing is right now, okay, maybe let's focus in Excel. You see here, just say, I want to know which particular country has the highest expenses. Now, if I go here, it's hard for me to see which country has the highest expenses, or it's hard for me to do data analysis, because in using Power Query, we use Power Query to perform data cleaning. Power Query does data cleaning. Pivot table or Power BI does the data analysis. So right now, if just say I want to know which country or which town has the highest sales, highest expenses, because here we have actual expenses, here also we have actual expenses. So in this particular data, I want to know which country or which town has the highest expenses. So first thing is, I'm going to put my cursor over here. So if just say you're doing in Excel, okay, when just say you're doing in Excel, the first step is you put your cursor on the table. And then after that, what you do is you press Control A. When you press Control A, you will notice that it will highlight the entire table. And then after that, what I want to do is I go to data, and then I'll click from table/range, because this is the original data. So I click here from table slash range. Once I click over here, you will notice a box will appear. Make sure you untick the my table as header. Even if you tick also not mind, but the problem is there will be a lot of steps. So I'll suggest to untick. Why? Because January and February is not our real header. The header that I want to put is maybe 6 different column. Column 1 is I want to put the months. Column 2 is I want to put the type like actual forecast. Then we have the expenses. Then we have country. Then we have town. And last one is INR. So basically from this particular table, I want 6 different columns. So what I'll do is I put my cursor over here, Control A, from table slash range. I click it over here. You will notice a box will appear. And then after that, I'm going to press it OK. Once I press OK, you will notice you will be navigated to Power Query Editor. So right now what I want to do is I want to clean the data. We are learning Power Query. Power Query is a tool where we can perform data cleaning. If you look here carefully, here we have January, here we have February. But first thing is what we need to do is we need to fill down. Because Australia, we have null. England, we have null. Malaysia, we have null. India, we have null. So select this column 1, right click, and then what we do is we fill down. We press here fill, and then we press here down. So automatically what it does is it fill down. Then for temporary, what I do is I will combine column 1 and column 2 temporary. So I select column 1, column 2, I will combine this temporarily. So to combine this, I go to transform, I click merge column. When I click merge column, why I click merge column? Because I want to combine temporarily. Okay, so I just click merge column, and then you will notice that a box will appear. So I'm going to click what? I'm going to click on any delimiter. Maybe you want to select equal sign, comma, colon, and so on. So anything over here. So maybe in this case, I will just select equal sign. Why? Because I want to combine temporary. Okay, so I click here equal sign, and I'm going to press OK. I'm going to show. Thank you, Ashima. Meaning to say, first thing is, if you look here, once you load the data to Power Query, the thing you need to do is you need to do some data cleaning. If you observe carefully, thank you, Ashima, for your statement, replay. So column 1 is where we have null, null, null. So what I'm going to do is I want to fill down. So because Melbourne is located in Australia, Manchester is part of England, Seremban is part of Malaysia, and Mumbai also part of India. So what I do is I fill down. Whenever it's merged, in Power Query, the merge cells, they will not recognize. They will separate the merge cells, and whatever blank or merge, it will be have null over here. So I'm going to press here right click, and I'm going to press here fill and down. So yes, fill down. The country word will fill down. Meaning to say, let me show you. I'm going to press here right click, fill down. Okay, so it will fill down. The country word also will fill down. Yes, correct. But what we want to do is, first thing is we fill down first. And then the second step is, I'm going to select this. Okay, just ignore this because our intention right now is we want to fill down the Australia, England, Malaysia, India. And then what we do is, we select the first column and the second column. And then what we do is, we go to transform and then we merge column. When we merge column, you will notice that a box will appear. Why we want to merge? Because for temporary basis, we want to merge. Then after that, we will split. So I'm going to merge temporary. So you can choose colon or comma. So maybe I choose comma and I press OK. So like what you mentioned, correct? You have country, town, country, but the purpose is we want to merge these two first. Okay, we want to merge these two first. And then the next step, what I want to do is, like I showed you all just now, transform, transpose. The purpose of transpose is to change, to convert the format. Initially, like right now, you see here, it is by horizontal. That means you have January, you have February. But when I press transpose, you will see that the format has changed. Now the January appears in a vertical format. January, February is in vertical, but the location right now appears in a horizontal format. Okay, let me show you all one more time. So meaning to say, when I press transpose, you will notice that the format has changed. Then, of course, here we have null, null, null. So what we do is, we select the column 1 and column 2. We press here right click. And why we press right click? Because we need to fill down January, February, actual budget. So right click and fill and down. And just like that, we have already filled down. Now we see here we have column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. This is not the rail column. The rail column is number 1 here. This is the rail column. So we need to use first row as header. Either over here also can, or you can go to home and you can click over here also can. Use first row as header. Click it over here, and just like that, it becomes the first row. And then after that, what happened is, of course, like what Hashima mentioned, yes, your country has appeared many times. I'm going to select these 3 columns. Column 1, column 2, column 3. I'm going to select all these 3. Right click, unpivot other columns. Unpivot is a very underrated tool in Power Query because it will convert the shape. So I'll just press here unpivot other column, and just like that, it changed the format. So just now you combine. Now what you do is you can actually split the column. So I'm going to select the attribute, split by column, delimiter, and then what happened is I want to split by comma. So I press OK. So right now you have 6 different columns. Column 1, you can actually put here the months. This one you can put here the type, whether it's actual or budget. And then after that, you can actually put here as expenses. And then here you put your country. And here you put your town. Okay. And this one you want to put as INR also can. Okay. Please acclaim unpivot column again. Okay. So unpivot column, let me show you. Right now, if you see here carefully, we have Australia, we have Melbourne, we have London, okay, and all those things appear as a header like this. If you see here, this Australia until Mumbai, all those appear as the, okay, thank you Mukesh for your question. So if you look carefully in the checkbox, Mukesh has made an effort to type a question. Please explain unpivot column again. So basically, what happened is, if you notice carefully, Mukesh, we have Perth until Mumbai appear as a header. What I did is, I press unpivot other columns. Unpivot columns, how I did it was, if you notice, I select the 3 columns, right click, and I press unpivot other columns. When I press unpivot other columns, it will actually appear in this format. So Mukesh, do you get it? So initially, it was separated by, they have each towns. But right now, when you unpivot other columns, I'll show you again, don't worry, because you need to understand what is Power Query actually. So you see here, we have this data, and now I clean this. Okay, so right now, the thing is, why we do data cleaning? We can actually remain as normal. But when we do data cleaning, we can actually do data analysis. Data analysis is suitable when your table is in a proper format, because initially this is your table. But when you do data cleaning, your table will be shaped into a tabular format, a table format. And then what you can do is you can actually press close and load too. When you press close and load, it will load as a table in a new worksheet. So I'm going to press close and load too. And then let me just put it over here. Okay, so maybe pivot table and existing worksheet. Just click over here and then press OK. Okay, so this one all I just remove. When I put over here, so just say I want to know which country has the highest. So I just click the country. Okay, I just tick the country, I tick the value. And maybe because here we have actual and budget, right? So what we do is, maybe I just put the type at the filter. And this one here, maybe I want only actual. Okay, so what we can understand is, maybe what we know is Australia is the highest. So you can right click, sort largest to smallest. So not Australia, but England is the highest. This is how we can analyze. Because over here, it's actually very hard for me to know who is the highest. If just say you want to know which town is the highest, so I unselect the country, I select the town, I put over here. So here from here, let me just arrange one more time. Right click, sort largest to smallest. So we notice that Perth, Manchester, London, Mumbai is the top 4. Okay, and then you can actually give more story. That means maybe I put here value and then right click, show value as percentage of grand total. So this is how we can say the expenses and the percentage allocation for the 2 months. So this is how we can understand. And then after that, if you want to do presentation wise, like for example, I want to do a presentation. So I'll just go to this pivot table analyze. As you can see over here, pivot table analyze and insert slicer. Maybe I want to know by the months and also by the maybe the type of expenses. And I'm going to press OK. So right now we have two things. So if just say I click for January, so January, Mumbai has the highest expenses. When I click on staff cost, we know London is the highest. February, then we can see this. This is how you can actually play around. Because the purpose is, even Ashima and also anyone, you can actually ask me, when you know Power Query, you can actually learn Power BI and also pivot table. Pivot table in Excel, Power BI is in Power BI. So why we learn Power Query? Because we want to clean the data. Okay. So I need to answer Mukesh question because Mukesh want to know what is unpivot column. So let us go to the next question to actually understand what is actually unpivot. So right now I'll go to level number 5. If you see here, this is level number 5. Level number 5, I will try to show you what is unpivot column. Okay, I have gone to level number 5. So can you see level 5? If you can see level 5, can you type number 4 in the chat box? Okay, so this is to make sure not only Mukesh but everyone else to understand what is unpivot column. So what you do is you put your cursor over here, you put your cursor on the table, then you press Ctrl A. Ctrl A means will highlight the table. You go to data over here. We have a data ribbon. This one they call as data tab, data ribbon. Then you click from table slash range. And then after that, of course, this one my table has header. Why my table has header? I tick this time because the bank, the accounting items, the GL items, this is the header. This is the header. So I'm going to press here OK. Once I press OK, you will notice that you will be navigated to Power Query. So why we do this? This one is to understand what is unpivot column. So to answer Mukesh and everyone else, what is unpivot? You select 2018 until the end. How I select until the end? First thing is I use my mouse. I select 2018. Then in your keyboard, if just say you are using a normal laptop or even MacBook, there is a button called shift button. Okay, shift button. So my left hand, I press shift. My right hand, I use the mouse and click 2022. Okay. Yes, financial planning and FP&A. Yes, financial planning and accounting. So 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. And then after that, what I do is I go to transform unpivot. So once I click unpivot, you will notice it changes format. So Mukesh, do you understand what is unpivot? Unpivot means it will convert all the columns into two different columns, which is attribute and values. So Mukesh, are you there? You can say yes or you can say no. All right. So this is what unpivot column is. It will change the format. So you may ask me, what is actually close and load? By pressing close and load, when you go to home and you press close and load, eventually it will load the data as a table format in a new worksheet. Okay, so basically Power Query is a very big topic and it can do wonders actually. Okay, it can do wonders. If you know Power Query, you can actually solve challenges and so on. So this is all the challenges. Maybe let's just try to solve this challenge. This is level 14. Okay, I'm not expecting you to memorize the step, but the intention of this particular course is to actually make you understand what is Power Query. Now, if you look here carefully, in this particular worksheet, level 14, we have employee name, we have employee ID, we have join date, we have annual salary. The problem with this data is we have all these appear in a rows format. By right, the header should appear as a column. But this data, it appear many times. 1, 2, 3. So you notice what we need to do is we need to use Power Query. So I'm going to put here Control A so that it highlights everything. And then you go to data from table slash range. You click it over here and then you just press, okay, this one you don't need. So you can just untick because my header is not this. So I press here OK. So now what it does is it will go to Power Query Editor. So now this is your data. What you can do is you can transpose first. So I go to transform and I transpose. And now when you transpose, you will change the layout because initially this is your layout. Employee name, ID, join date, and so on. But when you change, this is now your layout. And then after that, what you do is, I don't want column 1, column 2, column 3. Instead, I'll press use first row as header. There you go. It changes. Next, what happened is, you see here, even though I done my job, but these columns still appear because we want the employee name in one column, not another column. So what we do is we go to add column and I click index column. Of course, this one it might be very new for you, but index column is basically to create a sequence. But why I choose index column? Because I want to create a dummy column. Click index column. So over here we have a sequence. The purpose of creating index column is to create a dummy column. So I'm going to press here right click and I'm going to press here unpivot other columns. And now it just become like this. Okay, so right now we can actually format the data accordingly. So I'll just remove these two columns, column 1, column 2, remove. So we only have this particular database over here. So add column, index column. Index column is to form the sequence. And then I go to standard, I press divide integer. Here we have divide, here we have divide integer. Divide means you will have the answer with decimal places. You will have the answer with decimal places. The word here is integer. Integer is a number without decimal places. Integer is a number without decimal places. So I'm going to press here divide integer and they will ask me what number I want to divide. I want to divide what number? Here we have employee name. Here we have the ID number. Here we have the join date. Here we have the salary. Here we have the employee name. Here we have the ID number. Here we have the join date. Here we have the salary. So my dear friends, can you tell me how many types of data are in this column? Here we have the company name, employee name. And here we have the ID number. So thank you, Mukesh. We have 4 types of data. Iktoti. So I only know Iktoti. So I don't know what is number 4 in Hindi. So first is employee name. Iktoti. Okay, Cha. Okay, thank you, Aishwarya. It's Cha. So Iktoti Cha. Ikto. So 4 types of data. So I'm going to put here 4. And I'm going to press here. Okay, so thank you, Aishwarya. Actually, there are 4 types of data, Ashima. Why? Because here we have the employee name. We have ID number. Okay, ik, do, ti, cha. Ik. So here, so ik, do, ti, cha. 4 types of data. Okay. So the purpose I put integer division is, but to okay, because here is, this is what do you call it? Wait, let me show you. This one is employee ID. This one is annual salary. Okay. This is employee ID because when you join a company, you have the ID number. This one here is the salary. Okay, salary number. So 2 different things. Okay. So here we have the grouping. Okay. All right. Both have the same data type. Okay. All right. Okay, so yes, both the data type is actually 3 types, but we have 3 different types of data. Namely, this is for name, this is for ID, this is the join date, and this is the salary. Okay, and then what I do is I select the index column. Here, the purpose is basically I want to actually know the sequence. I go to index, transform, standard, and I press modulo, and then I put here 4. And then I press OK. What is modulo? Modulo means remainder. Why 4? Because we have 4 different types of data. Then I press here OK. So right now you'll see this is the format. This one is to know the sequence, the number of row, the number of row. This is number of column. And then what I do is I go to pivot column. And then yes, correct. Thank you, Ashwarya. So here I'm going to press here advanced option. Count all means it will count all. So, okay, I'll explain later why we do division and modulo. I'm going to press don't aggregate and I'm going to press OK. Once I press OK, so right now this is the data. Here you have the employee name. Here you have the employee ID. Here you have the join date. Here you have the amount. Okay, so now like Ashima asked me why I need to do division. Well, the purpose of division is, let me just draw over here. So the purpose of division like this one here is basically to determine the row number. Okay, so let me just write down, where is the word? Okay, let me just write down, to determine the row number. Why we do the integer division? The divisor was 4, because when I click over here, wait, let me just close here, and let me just click it over here. So I divide by 4. If you remember just now, I asked even Mukesh and also Aishwarya, how many types of data? Yes, I know we have numbers, but the data is, we have like what Aishwarya typed it, is the employee name, employee ID, we have the join date, and we have the salary. So we have ik, do, ti, cha. We have 4 types of data, 4 types of columns. So that's why we divided by 4. Why, like Ashima asked a question, why we actually do division? Because to determine the row. This is to determine the row. Now the next question is, why we actually do modulo? Modulo is actually to do the remainder. Wait, let me just clear all. Okay. So right now, let me go to modulo. Okay. So now if you notice over here we do have here, like this is 1, okay, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 0, this is 1. Why we do this? This one is to actually determine the column. This one is row, to determine the row number, the row sequence. Wait, let me put here row. But this thing over here to determine the column number. We divided into 4 because this one will appear as the first column, the second column, the third column, the fourth column. This one also same thing. First column, second column, third column, fourth column. So right now, if just say, let me just clear this. When I press over here, you will notice right now it appears in 4 different columns. So to answer Ashima's question, why? Why when we press divide integer, why we press divide integer is because we want to actually calculate the row number. Why we press divide integer? Because we want to calculate the row number. Why we choose modulo? We want to calculate the sequence. This is the row number, this is the column number. And then, okay, modulo with what number? Modulo with number 4. Why number 4 again? Because we have employee name, employee ID, join date, and salary. Employee name, employee ID, join name, salary. So it's number 4 again. Can you see here, Ashima? Okay. So not only that, you see here, now we understand that here we have this data. So Power BI is Power Query, very interesting thing is, we can actually try to calculate the years of service. Because some employee, when they work in a company for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, they will can get some kind of benefits. Okay. So you can actually show them. Okay, yes, it's difficult to grasp because I understand. But Ashima, let me know, is this your first time looking at Power Query? I understand. I really like when Ashima say it's difficult to grasp. But is this your first time looking at Power Query? If this is your first time, can you type yes? Or are you a frequent user? Okay. So I don't blame you because, like, for example, I don't know to cook. If just say you ask me to cook pani puri or you ask me to cook biryani, I'm not well versed because I don't even know how to use the knife to cut a tomato. But if just say when I do 100 times, when I do 200 times cutting tomato or cooking pani puri, I will be some kind of subject matter expert. So same goes to Hashima. Of course, for the first time when you see this, you need to actually practice first, but it's not about you memorizing the steps. It's about you understanding the features. This is Power Query. Once you know Power Query, you are actually able to learn SQL because why? In SQL, let me just click here. SQL also, you have this left outer, this right outer. So correct me if I'm wrong. So do SQL have this? Left outer. Okay. Right. So let me just press here. Okay. Modulo box. There you go. So can you see Hashima? Oh, the final one. Yeah, this is the, oh, you mean the pivot column? Are you referring this? This one I choose don't aggregate. All right. So, yep, this is the one. But now let me show you. I'll show you what's the next thing. We can actually use Power Query to actually determine the years of service because this employee joined on 2001. Some employee joins on 2009. What we can do is we can calculate the years of service. We select this particular column. We go to add column and we go to date column. From here, what we can do is we can calculate the age. That means just say 2014 now is 2025. So I want to calculate that what is the years of service. So I go to age. So over here we have the age. We live in a universe where we don't calculate number of days. This is number of days. So what we can do is we can go to transform duration. Instead of days we choose total years. Total years means, so what we can understand is like this employee has 24 years working in this company. And then if just say you want to change into a whole number, you can click here and you can click here whole number. So automatically it will change. Okay, automatically it will change. Either you can change over here or you can go to rounding, you can click round up, round down, or you can click round also can, up to you. You can click round and you want to round to 0 decimal places and then you press OK. So you will round to 0 decimal places. So from here, Power Query not only help us to transform data, we can also calculate the years of service. So just say I just sort this data in a descending order. So we understand that these employees are employees who work in this company for many years, the same company. So normally if you work in a company for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, you can get some kind of benefits. Maybe you can get some kind of allowances or some kinds of additional services or some kind of recognition. So the next year, 2026, these two employees will have about 25 years working anniversary in the same company. So the CEO or anyone then they can provide some kind of luxury or benefits to these employees so that to recognize they work for 25 years actually. So my dear friends, do you understand what is Power Query actually? So Power Query, today's topic is actually Power Query. Okay, of course, Power Query is available in Power BI. It is also available in Excel. So I'm going to press here home and I'm going to press here close and load to. So once I press close and load to, it's up to you because normally you can actually load the data in table format or you want to create a connection also can. And then after that you press OK. So of course, I understand for Hashima's point of view, it's a bit tricky, but I can make it more simple. I can make it more understanding. I'm going to show you what is actually a Power Query. The last one, Power Query also can combine data from a table. Combine data from folder. Okay, we are going to do this as a last practice. Combine data from folder. So for example, over here, let me just go here and select day 2. So in day 2, Power BI, we have just say consolidate claims report. So over here, we have February, March, April, but I want to import from this folder over here. So what happened is, I want to combine data from folder. Step number 1 is, I click data. Why is data? This is data. So I click data, get data from folder. Number 2 is, I need to actually choose the correct folder. So I'm going to choose the folder accordingly. But this time I want to choose claims folder. Okay. And then step number 3 is I want to press combine and load to. Some people will press combine and load. You will have an error, not error. It will show a different thing. So the next thing is combine and load to. Number 4 is choose the correct worksheet. Some people will call it worksheet. Some people will call it sheet or tab. Up to you. So this time my tab name is claims. Okay. Number 5 is choose pivot table. Yeah. Okay. So click data, get data from folder. Data, get data, file, from folder. So maybe I need to put here from file, from folder. Okay, so get data from file and then folder. Once I click over here, you will notice a box will appear. So you need to choose the folder accordingly. So I save maybe in day 2 Power BI. So this is my file. So what folder I need to choose? I need to choose the claims folder. You click one time. You don't have to double click. When you double click, you cannot go anywhere. So you need to actually click one time only. Click one time, you press open. Then after that, what you do is another box will appear. You need to press combine and load to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you combine and load to. So I click here, combine and load to. Okay. And then after that, choose the correct worksheet. So you need to know what worksheet you want to choose. So just say I want to choose the worksheet called claims. So you need to choose the correct worksheet. And then after that, you need to choose pivot table. So I'm going to press OK. Choose the correct worksheet, claims, and choose pivot table. So after that, what I do is I choose pivot table. So let me just choose the pivot table. And existing worksheet, let me just put it over here, maybe somewhere here, and press OK. So right now, what you'll notice is, let me press here. Oh, it's over here. Okay, never mind. Wait, let me just do. Wait, the data is not here. Okay, connections. Okay, maybe let me do one more time because the data was here. Let me just do one more time. Data, get data from file, from folder. And then once I choose claims, I press open. And then what happened is, okay, it's loading. And combine and load to. And then you need to choose the claims worksheet. Choose the correct worksheet, which is claims. So I'm going to choose claims. I press OK. And then after that, I need to choose pivot table. Okay, pivot table, existing worksheet somewhere here. And okay, once I press here, so it automatically will load as a pivot table. I just take the amount. I just take the claim date. So right now, this is January. Why it shows me January? Because over here, in this claims report, we only have January only. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to press here, right click. And I want to choose group. And I will choose months only. So, okay. So it will have January 4745. So what happened is, if just say, here we have January. I go back to this folder. I select all these files. All these files I select. I drag. I put inside the claims folder. So right now, all the claims, we have all these files here. We have how many files? We have 8 files until August. So now what I do is, when I right click and I refresh, you will notice that right now you have this data over here. So basically what I'm trying to show to all of you, Power Query can transform data, but Power Query is mainly for ETL. It can extract, it can actually transform, and it can load. Okay, in Power BI, it only load to Power BI only. But in Excel, you can load as a pivot table, you can load as a pivot chart. Okay, so if just say I were to do one more time, I put all this, I drag and put it over here, and I right click, refresh. So just like that, it will only show me one data. And if just say, I just put the amount one more time, and right click, show value as percentage difference from, and let me just choose here previous. Okay, so right now you have nothing. But if just say, I go back, I select all these files, I drag and put it over here. And then when I right click and refresh, you will notice that here you can have the number, and here you have the trending. So that's the beauty of Power Query and pivot table. Even you can do this in Power BI as well. So data analytics, you have to know the 4 P's of data analytics. First thing is Power Query. Second thing is pivot table. Pivot table is in Excel. Power BI, of course, this one I show you what is Power BI, and then Power Pivot. Power Pivot is something over here. This is Power Pivot, but this is a bit tricky because you have DAX measure and you have a relationship between the tables. So that's how is it. So my dear friends, any questions? If no questions, yeah, like Ashima just now, your question is, am I FP&A? So you might be wondering what FP&A. FP&A means is financial planning and analysis. Financial, that means it's more to budgeting. That means this is more to finance people and so on. So this was my previous job actually. Okay. Because you may ask me, Hashima, why we need to know Power Query. I'll show you. Let me go to my introduction. But if you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, I will pass to the MC. So just to let you all know, what is actually Power Query? Power Query is a very useful tool for data cleaning. So just say I'm going to open a file right now. So this file is a very, very big file because sometimes a file is more than 10 megabyte. You have like this. So this is where my manager want to see the report. Okay, we have this report over here. So we have like a dashboard. Some people prefer dashboard in Excel. Some managers prefer dashboard in Power BI. It depends. So when I click here, it showed me this report. When I click this, it showed me this report. So this is the report that my manager wants to see. Okay. So right now, I'll show you what is my report so that everybody can understand. So my report is like this. This is where I amend. This is where I amend and edit. This is where my manager want to see. So right now, if just say I go to the expenses tab. So the expenses tab, right now you see here, we have suppliers, education, business. Here you just say, I change the number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6. If you notice carefully, I have changed to a very, very big number. So what I do is, I'm going to press here, go to the dashboard, and let me click on the home button and just say I press here refresh. When I press refresh, sometimes it will take some time. So just now you notice I make a big number. When you change to a big number and when you click refresh, you will notice eventually the data will appear. So right now, if you notice carefully, do you notice there got one big number? If you notice a big number, can you type yes in the chat box? So when you know Power Query, you know pivot table, and you know VBA, you will notice that you can actually, how to say, prepare a dashboard or prepare reporting. So now let me do one more time. So I press here right click and I go to the expenses. So just say I change this to a small number, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I change to a small number. So I go to my dashboard and I press refresh. When I press refresh, you will notice that eventually it will go back to normal. Okay, but right now it's taking some time because this file is quite heavy. So that's why it will take some time. So my friends, do you notice the difference? If you notice the difference, can you type one more time? Yes. So if you have any questions, you can ask. No questions, then we can end the session. So if there's any questions, you can ask. No question, we can end the session. Is Arun sir over here? Okay, now.
If there are no questions from the audience, then I guess we can
Mukesh,
wrap up the
yes, I
session.
can share to Mukesh right now the book. Then Mukesh, over to you, the book.
Yep. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Ellen, for taking out your time. I'll be looking forward for the next weekend for